All right, Craig. I need a lozenge. I need a hot tea. I want some hot vanilla spice tea, please. Vanilla spice chai. That'd be great. Thank you. And super fast, please. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, he's not moving. Yeah,
Does he know he's alive?
Did you kill Craig?
No, he's just drooling. What the hell?
No.
He might be sleeping. He's definitely not getting your tea.
Recording. Yeah, hopefully it's recording at least.
I see the red button is pushed in with the light blinking, so I think we're good.
Well, on his nose. This is nose blink now when he records us.
Craig the red-nosed reindeer.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're the Grumpy Dungeon Masters. I'm Jay, joined with my co-hosts Christopher, Christian, and Dan. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hello there.
God damn it! Just one time, please.
He's already done it.
I already did that.
I wasn't here. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Out of sight, out of mind. Is that how this works?
That's how I live my life, baby. Yeah.
All right, Christian, where can they find us on social medias?
You can find the Grumpy Dungeon Masters podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube. You can also see us streaming live on Twitch TV Tuesday and Thursday evenings most of the time. Working our way through Soul Mask right now.
Yay! Well, probably won't be streaming this week because I still got to finish the stuff for the tournament that I'm running on Saturday at Synergy. So I'm panicking, guys. I gotta get everything
meet
done.
Us live.
Yeah, meet us live at Synergy Gamers in Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah, come play in a D&D tournament. It'll be fun.
So I was at Nerdfest today, which is kind of like a day of board gaming that a couple local D&D people have been running for the past couple of years, and I've been going out and running my games, and I've been running Keshinar games for them the past couple years, and got to do it today. I pitched a tournament and whatnot, and the biggest question I got was, "What the hell's a D&D tournament?" And so I was like, "Well, have you ever played Tomb of Horrors?" And I'm like, "No, I've never played Tomb of Horrors." I was like, "Well, that's the tournament dungeon," and then I kind of explained to them what it is and where they could, come play in the tournament, and I got a lot of people that are saying that they'll be there, so I'm looking forward to it. I just got to finish writing it, I guess. That's probably
would be helpful.
Big on getting the tournament running. But I got the prizes being worked right now. I got the printing all handled, and I got all my ducks in a row. There's no roadblocks currently, so I think I'm good to go. Just need people to show up and come play the game. As I did mention, I did have a chance to run the Keshinar's Perfect Trap module twice. If my voice sounds a little crackly, it's because I had to yell inside of a brewery for 8 hours straight to run a game. And Dan, I believe one of the players that played has beat you for worst roller ever in a game. All right.
The hell you say?
The hell I say. Have you ever rolled 4 natural ones in a row?
I don't think so, but definitely like in the same session, probably.
In the same session, yes. So there was a group of people that came out to play Keshinar, and one of the girls, she rolled her first 4 rolls. She's never played D&D before. Her first 4 rolls with the D20 were natural ones. And what was weird about this is that the 3 people shared the same set of dice. So everyone else was rolling in the high teens-ish, like you normally do. And she just 4 natural ones, and then a string of 2s and 3s, and then back to 1s again. She could not roll a single double digit, I think, until she started rolling with advantage with her rogue. It was insane. And I just kept thinking, it's like, oh my God, I think she's rolling worse than Dan Cook. like, oh my God. So you may have lost that curse forever, and now this
It's one of those things where I just got to turn to her and be like, first time, just because you
Yeah.
did it once doesn't mean you've have the history, man. Come back to me in 30 years.
Yeah, well, maybe. But it was quite interesting. Perfect Trap is an introductory module to the Keshinar setting and whatnot. I think you guys played through it. But essentially what it does, it kind of gives you this MacGuffin that's the blood of the Phoenix, which helps you rewrite reality. If you write anything with the blood of the Phoenix, like on a scroll or parchment, it becomes reality. So, like if you wanted to write with the blood that all dogs and cats are made of silver, then all dogs and cats turn to silver. You know, that kind of level of power. Um, and this as the MacGuffin, it's interesting because you're supposed to keep it away from this dog. And I've had people like give the MacGuffin to the dog, and that kills everybody. I've had people like throw it away or just pour it out on something. So the module when I ran today, the first group, someone drank it. And I think I had this happen to somebody like a couple years ago. And I didn't know what to do, so I kind of just had them explode. Like you just drank like pure wishing fluids. Like you can't contain that. You explode. And then I messaged David Hadd and it's like, hey, have you ever had this happen before? You know, and what did you do? Because I'm just kind of curious. He's like, well, I let them become a god and make them a charisma save every turn until they either stabilized or exploded. So I wasn't too far off with my initial thoughts. So that's what happened this time. Someone drank the blood. They turned into an Inferion. It's the closest thing I could find to a deity in the monster manual. And I had them make some charisma saves until they got 3 in a row and they stabilized. And now they were deity forever. The second game, they decided just to pour the blood out onto a statue and wish at the same time and have that wish come true. And I let that happen. We were kind of wrapping up at the time, so they were able to wish the bad guy away and seal him for a little bit, which I thought was an appropriate way to end the session. But I had a lot of fun. I got to pitch pitch the tournament a lot. I met some people that play Shadow Dark. There was only one, but a lot of people were actually playing Shadow Dark, which is nice. I handed out our module for Appendix N that we submitted.
Oh.
A lot of people were very interested in that. A lot of cosplayers. They had a tournament. I was handing stuff out and talking to people, and one of the tournament questions that I overheard on the speaker was, "What is the 5-headed dragon that lives in Avertis?" No one knew the answer to that. I was kind of ashamed. Like, giant group of people that play D&D.
There's a place called Nerdfest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
no one knew who Tiamat was. So, overall, it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed doing it. And we're doing it again next year, and hopefully, it'll have as biggest turnout as this one did.
How many people showed up for this thing?
About 300 to 400, maybe.
Holy
throughout
crap.
the day.
In a brewery?
It's a very large brewery, yeah. They had 2 floors, and like I said, we had 11 DMs. So yeah, 11 DMs, and every table ran 6 players. So it was. I don't think there was an empty table the entire time. And then there was also like an arcade room. There was
what brewery is this?
The Frothy Beard Company in I guess West Ashley, South Carolina. It's outside of Charleston. And they have also an outside patio where they had stuff going on. They have a big arcade room where they were running games. People were in the back playing Fallout. I guess Mofidius came out with a new Fallout tactical Warhammer style game recently. And they were kind of showing that off and getting that into people's hands and letting me see that. I looked at it. It looked pretty cool. I've been wanting to get into Warhammer for a while, so maybe I'll check that out instead of Warhammer. But yeah, there's a lot of different game stores in the area that came out to this. Unfortunately, his energy wasn't there this year. They they were too busy doing the Hobbit pre-release this weekend at their store. So I can kind of understand that. You can't say no to the Hobbit money.
Yeah, got to make that money for those Magic the Gathering cards.
That is
Hell
the
yeah.
moneymaker for the stores. So yeah.
But overall, it was a great time, and my voice is shot, so
Sounds
Um,
fine.
yeah, I can feel it. I can taste the blood.
That's
What'd you
weird.
guys do?
This weekend, absolutely nothing.
Slacker.
Yeah, no, I went to that one card show thing that I told you about where literally nobody was selling Magic cards or anything else other than Pokemon and sports cards. So that was a waste of a drive.
Did you find me a Bo Jackson rookie card?
Oh, I guarantee you
yeah.
I could have. Guarantee there were plenty
Hell
of them
yeah.
there.
That's the
So
only.
it's
That's the only.
baseball. Wait a minute. We're talking football or baseball?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that when we were
Who
a kid,
knows?
yeah, when we were a kid, I mean, everybody had like a dozen of those, and now if you can find them in mint condition, they're worth thousands of dollars. But
Yeah, I had a nice little binder. Bo Jackson was like my big character or big sport hero that I had as a kid, and I made sure to get all his cards and collect all of them. So
let
I'm pretty sure I had them all at one point in time. I don't know where that book is anymore, but
let me guess, you knew about Bo Jackson from Tecmo Bowl.
no, I
See,
I
somebody
knew
I
him.
heard somebody giggling. Somebody got that reference.
I get the reference, but I think I saw like a couple like Bo Nose ads for like Looney Tunes and shit, and like just how I grafted onto it.
That's fair.
You know, yeah, I couldn't play D&D as a kid; it was of the devil. So, you know,
But football and baseball,
of
that's
the devil.
perfectly fine. Yeah, it's all of the devil. Um, so you did mention that Modifius showed up to Nerdfest.
no,
Uh,
Modifius didn't show up. One of the stores was hawking the new Modifius Fallout stuff.
oh, okay. So Modifius was at Gen Con this past week, and they are the ones behind the Kickstarter for the new Discworld Adventures in Ankh-Morpork role-playing game.
Yep.
The Kickstarter finished last year or early this year, and they have not begun shipping as of yet. They're supposed to be shipping out here very soon to all of the backers. They were selling the product at Gen Con, however.
Okay.
And I mean, if you have people who have Kickstartered something 6 months, a year in advance, in my estimation, in my opinion, those should be the first people to put hands on that. I understand that Modifius wants to make money, and Gen Con is a good place for doing that. That is very important to them. But the people who paid for this thing first should be the people who get it first. And instead,
I
they were selling it at their table.
I don't
Yeah.
disagree with you on principle. Like
Now, if they
that's
had the option for backers that were, do a hard copy of the book to be able to come up to that Gen Con table and
Sure.
get their copy, that'd be a little better. A little.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
fine. I don't mind that because you were a Kickstarter backer.
well, you got to think
But the
about this.
fact that you didn't have to
Sorry,
back
Chris.
it, and then you can just show up and get your book before me that already paid for it a year ago.
So you got to think about it this way: like when Mophidius is a much bigger company, so
Modifius.
they probably have different levels or departments handling different things. So the people that go out to Gen Con probably already have a certain amount of books set aside for them to hawk at the Gen Con, while all the other people are being handled by maybe a delivery company of some kind or being shipped out. So I can kind of understand them having the book there to sell. It is shitty that people that bought it didn't get it ahead of time. But even with like Keshnar, you could show up to Gary Con and get the book.
Yeah, if
And
you were a Kickstarter backer.
no, you could still buy the book even if you weren't.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I
Yeah,
thought.
we had
Okay.
people that
All right.
definitely
Yeah.
picked up the book.
Well, that,
that
And
that's
so like,
not Kickstarted it.
but then again too, like he received all the books ahead of time. He said, "Okay, I got to go out to Gen Con now. Here's all the books to ship out to all the players in storage locker A. The van is full of books as well, and now I get to go to Gen Con. And now he has people that he's hired to basically go through storage locker A and start, putting all the packages together. So I can kind of understand the logistics of the Kickstarter people not having the stuff right then and there because it's all going to be divvied up and divided out and put into things and then shipped off. And then usually the Kickstarter people get more stuff as well. So you have to factor that in. And then on top of that, maybe there's a Kickstarter exclusive version that they get as well too. Now, if they were selling the Kickstarter exclusive versions at Gen Con, that's dog shit. You definitely can't do that. But I don't fault them for having it there and selling it. Like, just like I'm not upset at WotC, selling the new Arcana book at at fucking Gen Con, and people that like me that pre-ordered it still don't have it yet because it's not even officially released yet.
Yeah.
Different people, different department, the compartmentalization, and
So Jay, did you hear some hubbub about this that people were upset about it, or?
Yeah, my buddy Mike, who you guys met a while back, was
Oh,
a
yeah.
backer, and when he found that out, he was none too fucking happy about it. I would
don't
imagine
blame
if he wasn't happy, then a lot of the other backers are not either.
Yeah,
and he has a right to be, but I understand.
I as much as I feel for him, that's actually been standard practice for game companies in Gen Con and some in lesser to a lesser extent Gary Con, but for the big conventions, it's always been one of those things that, okay, we're rushing because everybody wants to have their product out by the time these big conventions roll out, because it's a huge benefit if they actually have it in stock, which is
Yeah.
of course why Keshinar was able to, like, push it and get it done by Gary Con so they could release it. But like Chris said, I mean, if you backed it, you can pick it up when you're there. If not, yeah, it'll be coming in the mail soon. But I don't know. I get that he's upset, but it's actually kind of somewhat standard from what I recall from a lot of releases.
It probably
Doesn't-
is. It doesn't necessarily make it right,
Yes.
but
No.
it's just one of those things of the companies have to make money, and
Yeah.
Gen Con is a big thing of them turning a profit, especially when you first get this product in that you have spent who knows how much money getting created. So I understand them wanting to be able to sell it, but it's
Yeah.
still kind of shitty.
That's fair.
It definitely feels shitty.
It does feel that way, and it does kind of it feels a little bit cynical, almost like you didn't really need to kickstart this if you were going to go sell out a bunch of stuff at Gen Con.
Yeah, if they're selling it
So
at
all you
Gen
did
Con,
was
then he could have just ordered it.
Yeah.
Probably at this
Why
point.
did I need to bother supporting your Kickstarter? If what was
Well,
the
typically,
value
if
to
you
me?
if you do it with Kickstarter, you get the stretch goals, you get the bonus stuff, and it's usually cheaper than actually buying it in person.
Yeah.
But,
Sometimes, but not always.
Sometimes.
If for somebody that just backed a tier that is just I get the hardcover book and the PDF.
Like,
Yeah.
but I get it too. Like, I think it's weird that companies like Mofidius even have to,
Mofidius, yes.
kickstart.
This is a thing.
Look, companies like Morpheus cannot be contained.
So,
yes, Morpheus.
I mean, like, I don't know why they're kickstarting at all. It just feels weird. Like,
Oh,
you
we've
don't-
gone over this before.
Yeah.
Because I also got upset about gigantic companies like Hasbro kickstarting like Hero Quest and crap. I'm like, why are you kickstarting this? And
You're worth $1 billion.
you're worth $1 billion. It doesn't matter even if you don't sell it. You're still going to make money on it somehow.
Yeah, I get smaller companies that aren't listed on international stock exchanges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have take on a lot more risk by publishing a book that they don't know is going to be popular enough to recoup expenses. So
Yeah,
for
so
that,
like
sure.
when Goodman Games like comes out with an idea for another original adventures that reincarnate it, and they gotta make sure that they are printing the right number of copies. I get it, but when your Hasbro's do this, yeah, come on, it's real douchey.
Yeah. So where do you draw
Modifius,
the
I
line
don't know that
between like?
I don't know that I'd lump Modifius in with Hasbro. They're a
No.
big
Yeah.
game company, but they ain't that big.
So like I would lump Modifius with Hasbro. You know, they're international sellers.
In the gaming industry, they're
Yeah.
pretty damn big. Yeah.
Yeah. I would like so I kind of blame Morpheus for that. So
Fucking great.
If only he had taught
Oh
me.
my god.
Should have taken the other pill. Anyway, so what else we got to talk about? Dan,
I'll bring this up.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Christian.
This since we're tangentially in the realm of companies and publishers and whatnot. Way back, I don't remember how long ago, but we talked about Diamond. What is it? Diamond comic distributors that had gone into bankruptcy, and in doing so had seized and held on to the inventory for many of the companies that used them, much
Yeah.
to those companies' detriment, who were
Pathfinder,
losing
Battle Zoo, Lord knows how many
losing
others.
money hand and fist because they had just gotten a significant portion of their inventory just taken away and could not
Stolen.
sell. So the apparently the trustees who are currently running Diamond Publishers have reached a legal agreement with a group of publishers to return the inventory that's been sitting in a warehouse for more than a year. Now, I don't know if this is with all the publishers they have stuff or just with some. They list a few out here in the article I could find. There might be more, but the ones they list are Ablaze, American Mythology, Avatar Press, Action Lab, Drawn and Quarterly, Fantagraphics, Green Ronin, Living the Line, Paizo, Udon, and Zenoscope, as well as Boom and Dynamite.
A lot of those are comic book companies, which is
Oh,
no surprise. But
right.
but
So-
Paizo and Green Ronin, I recognize as
Paizo
they-
and Green Ronin are standouts because both of those suffered significant financial troubles because of this very issue of them
Yeah.
not being able to
Yes, they
sell
did.
their products.
Yes, they did.
Paizo's had to lay off a fuck ton of people because of that.
With
Yeah.
but although Paizo actually has, I think all their writers are all part of a not a guild. What's it called?
Union.
Union, and they
yeah,
actually
some of their-
they'll be the first to be recalled once they get basically.
Here's the thing though, so
yeah.
they're getting the books back. Apparently, the fees for they were also owed apparently a bunch of money for things they had sold, but Diamond didn't have the money to pass along the money, and that they were
Cool.
having to forfeit to get their inventory back. That was the agreement. Apparently, they are forfeiting whatever money would have been that was still pending and owed them by Diamond in order to get their inventory.
and how relevant are some of these books going to be at this point? It's like Paizo,
Yeah.
they've I would assume it's all second edition stuff, but this is stuff that's already been out. They've already sold a large majority of it. This is just extra stock that they're going to have to store. I don't know how effective it's going to be even getting this stuff back.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
the stuff that they get back, most likely, like you said, they have to be either ship it to another distributor, and they're taking the hit on it as well. So it's got to be worth it. I think maybe there might be some kind of like insurance write-off once they get that stock.
Here's another part of this. This is a weird deal. They get to get their stuff, but the deal is they could send 3 designated representatives to the warehouse to identify their stock, and then they have 30 days to get that inventory or it will be destroyed.
What?
Ooh.
Holy
So
shit!
they have to pay for the shipping and transport of it back as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
at that point in time, I don't know. Like, I'd be surprised if Paizo takes any of
Wow.
that shit back.
Yeah, I think
So
at that point in time, you have to ask yourself, like, is it worth it to pay to get this stuff back?
wow. Well, let's
I
follow up on
mean,
it later. But we were talking about why a little bit before about why some of these companies can still do Kickstarters, like Hasbro doing Hero Quest like that, and we're talking about comparative value of these game companies. I actually looked it up and I posted in the chat. We're pretty spot on with our assumptions of the value of some of these companies. But would you like to just take a wild guess on, obviously, the top three? What do you guys think are the top three game companies in revenue 2025?
Not having looked at your thing yet, so just guessing. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna put Hasbro up there. Hasbro/WotC.
Yep. You're looking at
Um,
$500 million for D&D last year. $500 million. All right, number two.
Gosh, all right. Trying to think about who might be next. Chaosium maybe?
No,
Oh, okay.
Paizo, 50.
Paizo. Okay. All right.
They're the second.
Makes sense.
They're the second at 1/10 what D&D makes.
Yep. And I already knew this because World Builder Bob had put out a video about this a little while back.
Yeah.
Who's number three?
So number three, you're looking at Chaosium at 26.2.
Yep.
Okay.
Then you go down to Mongoose at 14, which is actually kind of surprising.
Really? I did not know that.
Monty Cook at 12, and about tied with Modifius, which is at 12.7. Free League is down to 4 million. Cobalt Press 2 million.
What about
Green
Steve?
Runs 7 million.
What about Steve
Jackson's
Jackson?
3.5.
Okay.
Yeah, they average about 5 depending on the year. If we're talking also like D&D itself is 500 million. If you're talking about WotC as a whole, not just Hasbro, I'm talking just WotC. So we're talking Magic the Gathering, miniatures, everything like that. 1.5 billion.
Yeah.
Yes. Here's where it's Steve Jackson Games is somewhat like Wizards, not in size, but the fact that most of its revenue comes from other games beside
games.
RPGs.
Yep.
Munchkin.
Yeah. It comes from Munchkin.
But also, we'll note a very obvious discrepancy here. That's something that's missing. What would you say is probably the biggest miniature market?
I mean,
the biggest what?
Games
miniature
Workshop
market. Games
Workshop.
So Games Workshop distributes through a company called Cubicle 7, but the RPG portion of them only sums up to about 7.2 million.
Well,
that's true. They license. They don't do the RPG themselves.
Yeah.
And that's more than what I thought they would be too, because the RPGs are really low.
But all that said, I don't see Goodman Games on here, but that doesn't mean they're not on here. I think they're probably around the point where Steve Jackson Games is about 5.
They're several million, I'm sure.
But yeah, Modifius is still. I mean, they make a fair amount of money, but they make less than 1/20th what D&D makes. 1/10 of what they make 1/10 of what Paizo makes. So like, yeah, kickstarting. I don't disagree that probably they can still do that.
If your whole company,
they're not the 500-pound gorilla.
If your whole company's worth $5 to $10 million, you do still have to be somewhat cautious on the creation of products. You can't just throw a lump sum at things a lot of times.
Yeah, you can't have a product that's going to end up at Ollie's next week.
No.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's definitely some of these companies that are a single misjudged product that costs them too much money. Likely ends the company or at least significantly sets it back to the point where they have to really rethink business risks.
Yeah, and sometimes your distributors steal all your products.
Sometimes your distributor steals all your product. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you want to see these things that we're linking and talking about, it's in our podcast chat on our Discord.
Yeah,
Um,
it is intriguing just to see the tiers of game design companies. I'm honestly kind of surprised with how much money Cook Games is making. I mean, good on them. I did not realize they had such a huge following still, but here we are.
Yeah,
Mongoose as well kind of was surprising.
Mongoose, Coerce, Free League is
What is
fairly
Mongoose
small.
producing these days?
I don't know.
I
What
saw
is
them in
it?
the free RPG Day kit.
Let's see. Good question.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever bought
Traveler.
anything.
All the Traveler stuff is published
But
and
is that
republished
really
by them.
making
I
lots of money?
I have not seen a single con where like more than there's one or two Traveler games playing, but I'm guessing there's a huge fan base. Yeah, I'm looking at their RPG page and there's like 6 pages
Traveler,
of Traveler.
a bunch of Traveler stuff that they make. I wonder if they're like mostly not other stuff because they look like they have other games and maybe their other stuff is more of their money. Maybe Traveler's still it. They have Twilight, whatever that is.
Yeah, 2300 AD,
Yeah,
Twilight. These
those
are
are
all old
games
games.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Twilight
Paranoia.
2000.
Paranoia. I remember that game.
Paranoia.
I remember that was very popular back in the 90s.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great game.
But I do recall Mongoose creating a whole lot of D20 based things whenever 3rd edition came out.
What
But
is Singularity? It's a Traveler
Yeah.
thing. Okay.
Anyway,
All right.
thought that was really
Interesting.
interesting. Yeah.
That was really interesting.
Little surprised that they're worth that much.
I mean,
Like, if that-
me too.
they're UK based, aren't they? Maybe they forgot to convert pounds to dollars.
Maybe.
It's funny.
I mean, British people, they're weird anyway. So, like,
Yeah. So this is
their most
just a
popular
little
show
bit
is
here.
Taskmaster. What do you expect from them? Taskmaster's a great show, by the way. You definitely
it
need to
is.
watch
I do need to actually watch that.
So Dan, you had a thing that you picked up today. You were talking about.
Oh yeah.
reading some of the-
I picked up this this great book from published in 1980, and its title is The Complete Book of Wargames. And it's by a guy named John Freeman. Part of the, I guess, you've probably seen like the Consumer Digest, Consumer Guides, and stuff like that. Apparently, he wrote for one of those magazines back in the day. But the beginning part of this is basically just a introduction to war games, explanation of war games, and then essentially it's a critical essay on a ton of different war games that I thought was really intriguing. But of course, this is 1980, so what descended from war games is, of course, RPGs. So at the last couple of chapters includes 4 different chapters that were, I thought, really cool. You got science fiction games, The Stars and Other Destinations, fantasy games, Swords and Spells, Quests and Conquest, Dungeons, Dragons, and role-playing games, and then Computers in the Future, so future of wargaming. Before I get into that part of it, I think we might have mentioned this. I don't know if we ever mentioned it on the podcast, but a buddy of ours mentioned having watched a deep dive of the most complicated and complex war game
Yeah.
ever written, called The Campaign for North Africa. So I had to look up what this guy said about it. And The Campaign for North Africa is by a company called Simulations Publications Incorporated. Back in 1979, 46 years ago, it was published and for $33, which was a shitload of money back then.
Yeah, that's a couple $100.
Subject: the game covers all aspects, land, air, and sea, of all of the campaigns in North Africa in 1940 to 1942. Playing time: about 24 hours is needed for the absolute shortest scenario. The campaign game is estimated at 1,500 hours of pure playing time. And I actually had looked this up on Wikipedia, and that is spot on what Wikipedia says. Like, this game can last forever. So just going through it, like his standard evaluation was presentation, very good, rules good, playability non-existent, realism excellent, at least if not better, complexity 10, overall evaluation very good for historians, very poor for literally anybody else. The campaign for North Africa is not a game, and to consider it as such is a big mistake. It's a history lesson, a pure simulation. And the joke about this game that everyone talks about, like, is that it gets so into the weeds on the details when you're talking about moving Italian troops across North Africa, and you're determining the rations because you have to determine the logistics for all these campaigns and all these battalions moving across North Africa. You have to give them an extra ration of water because they're Italian and they have to make pasta. That's
That's
how
racist.
nitty-gritty it gets on this thing. It literally says, like, this game is overly complex and overlong, pure overkill, absolutely only for historians and clubs only. So I thought that was great.
It's the campaign for North Africa, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to see if it's on, if there's a video game version of this.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
On a scale of I've heard of Rome to Mamma Mia, how accurate is that?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did have to bring extra water.
I
when they
remember
lost North Africa.
I remember when I was living in Athens, Georgia, back in the mid '90s, and I was hanging out with a guy that I knew from playing Magic, and he was in a fraternity. And if you've ever been to Athens, Georgia, there's Fraternity Row, and it's all these
Mhm.
gigantic fucking houses.
Yep, lived there.
And
Went to UGA, so yeah.
yeah, so I was hanging out with him. We went to the fraternity he was in, and upstairs they had like this large upstairs area just completely open. And I recall them having a gigantic table up there with a board game that was set up. And I do not recall the name of it. So it's possible it was this North Africa game, but I just remember him or somebody that was there telling me that, yeah, they hop into this game, they play it for like an hour, and then they just leave it alone till the next day. And they've been playing this thing for months.
So yeah, that's very well that it could have been that. It could have been a number of
There's a
different
lot of other
board
ones
games.
like that, yeah.
But like, there's other board games that are more definitely more playable and more gameable that he goes over. It's a very similar one called Africa Core, 1964. This is one I think I mentioned before whenever Lou Zacci passed away, because he actually play tested this game. Presentation, fair to good. Rules, good. Playability, very good. Realism, fair. Complexity, only a 4. Overall evaluation, very good. It says it's still one of the most frequently played games 16 years after its publishing in tournament circles, as a testament to its balanced durability and playability. Perhaps too much hangs in the balance on the few die rolls for weather, which affects German reinforcement and supplies, but barring freak possibilities, German chances remain quite good. So basically, it's actually still lauded as one of the better games for a war game in the same portion of Africa. So. Yeah, either you can go for the hyper-realistic 1,500-hour game or the 5-hour game. I think I've established that I don't think I can sit through a war game. I don't have that kind of patience, especially between the turns. But more power to the people who can. But again, while the majority of this book is war games, that's not the meat of what I wanted to get at. But I did flip through in some of the other early iterations and things that you guys might have heard of. You ever heard of a game called Ogre?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So Steve Jackson, before he founded Steve Jackson Games, worked for a game called Metagaming, and he developed some really iconic and successful games for them. And the first one was called Ogre, where you basically it's 2 players on a hex grid, and you form a defense using traditional sort of tanks and various howitzers and lesser sort of units, and then you have a unit called Ogre, which is like this cybernetics hyper sci-fi tank that is coming to attack you. And this one had excellent ratings comparatively. But I also these were other games that apparently this company that Steve Jackson used to work for back in the 70s called Metagaming produced a couple other games I'd never heard of before. Maybe you guys have, called Melee and Wizard. It's tactical combat microgames forming the foundation of the Fantasy Trip line. You guys ever heard of these?
No, I'm not familiar with them. No.
So
feel like maybe I saw an ad for Melee in an old Dragon magazine.
That's how I'm familiar with Ogre, is because of
Yeah.
Dragon magazine ads.
So yeah, so this gets into the next chapter where we're talking. This is kind of like bridging the gap between war games and RPGs. So this is still kind of historically speaking, technically it's board games still, because you're not role playing, but you're playing into more fantasy stuff. But we'll get to that in just a second, because there's other stuff in between, like we're talking about space travel and things like that. So there's a Robert Heinlein's Starship Troopers board game that apparently was very well rated.
And quite expensive.
Oh yeah. There is, of course, Lord of the Rings, War of the Ring, SPI, which is also very well rated. Another war game. One I just kind of stumbled upon here. This is under the fantasy games. This is one of the first entries. This is a game called The Creature That Ate Sheboygan.
Oh no, not Sheboygan.
Have you ever heard of this?
No, but I really want to play this now.
So it's written by somebody who you might recognize, or all of us should recognize, one David Zeb Cook, before he ever got into working for TSR. Because
Okay.
he worked for SPI. And apparently this is a game vaguely tying into a movie that was absolutely terrible, but this guy gives the game just 5 stars, good to very good on literally everything, and it's the
Oh
art
my
on the
God.
cover is just
It's so
a
good.
monster just crashing through downtown.
Yeah,
It's so
like,
good.
It's definitely not Godzilla, right? Yeah, definitely not
Definitely
Godzilla.
not. He's eating Sheboygan. Godzilla doesn't visit Sheboygan.
Also, why does Sheboygan have like a giant tower that's
Doesn't
getting
anymore.
smacked? Yeah.
But again, in that fantasy board game, like bridging the gap section, you also have Dungeon board game, which of course was one of TSR's earliest, right after they actually published D&D.
Yeah.
And you have John Carter, Warlord of Mars. I thought this was really interesting. I think I sent you guys a picture of it. King Arthur's Knights by Greg Stafford. This is the precursor to Pendragon. And it was by Chaosium when they were known as the Chaosium, apparently in 1978. You can kind of find like some pamphlets of it online on like eBay. I don't know if you can find a box set of it, but yeah, you get to play the Knights of the Round and go through and try to seek the Holy Grail. The comments are: this is a direct descendant of the long forgotten board game Prince Valiant, and it has much in common with Shoots and Ladders, as much as in common with Shoots and Ladders as it does with Tactics 2. It is in effect an introduction to role-playing games in a board game format. It's a lighthearted game devoid of violence and horrible beasties, and quite suitable for children if they have someone to explain it to them. Unfortunately, the charts and tables are scattered hither and yon about the rather long rules system, except for the extractive 4-color map. The components are rather primitive, although the guy still gives it a pretty good rating. But there's a couple in here that are like very, very early Chaosium presentations. But let's get to the meat of the thing here. Dungeons, Dragons, and other role-playing games.
Wait, there are other role-playing games other than Dungeons and Dragons?
Nope, that's it.
That's
Nothing
fine.
else.
So
Okay.
he
Are we talking about
begins it
fourth
with
edition?
it with this. A word of warning: although an attempt has been made to evaluate role-playing games on the same scale as others covered in this book, it's dangerous to take cross comparisons too literally. This is particularly the case with complexity and playability ratings. For once an RPG campaign is in progress, it's reasonably simple matter for a new player to join, since much of the RPG system is invisible to the players. The newcomer may have to learn only a few of the rules and none of the charts or tables. Charts and tables. For the aspiring dungeon master, however, beginning a real campaign is an undertaking that makes campaign for North Africa look simple.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
For much the same
Not
reason,
at
without
all.
prior experience, you cannot play or even understand most RPGs with from reading a set of rules, which are often poorly written and usually full of holes King Kong would waddle through. Few exceptions are here. You must find an existing campaign to be introduced to play by others, and that's absolutely true back in the day. I mean, there was obviously in 1980 there were no YouTube channels showing you how to play.
How to Dungeon Master in 5 quick steps.
Yeah. So just quickly going through here because obviously I'm going to go through all of them, but they go through Boot Hill, rate it rate it fairly well. It's rate it good for presentation, rules, playability, and realism is very good. Chivalry and Sorcery gets shit on hard, hilariously.
Don't know that one.
You don't know Chivalry and Sorcery? So Chivalry and Sorcery is one of the probably most complex versions of any sort of RPG I've ever seen. I picked up a copy of it, which makes sense now that I read what this guy says about it. It says, originally this was an over 500-page set of rules that have been compressed and reduced in font size to only 128 pages of fine print, guaranteed to drive you blind or mad.
Yeah, that's accurate for that game.
Yeah.
So his evaluation, his presentation is good, rules very good, playability very poor, realism excellent, complexity 10 out of 10. Overall experience and evaluation poor as a game, excellent as a source though.
It's a game when I was, 20 years old, I probably would have loved it because I really enjoy games that are super in depth. 50-year-old me, not so much.
You're
Yeah.
not 50.
All right,
You're
here's the
right.
meat
I'm
of it.
51.
So he
You're
critiques.
51?
Yeah.
God damn it. Am I the youngest person here?
Yes.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yep.
Fucking kids these days.
I'm
these
48.
days.
How am I the youngest person here?
Oh, you may not
You're
be
48?
actually.
No, I'm 45, 46.
Why are you lying about your age?
I can't remember. Shut up.
He's too old to
Anyway.
remember. Moving on.
So
45.
he goes over Dungeons and Dragons, like the OG 1974 box set. And just to highlight some of it. Presentation, poor. Rules, rock bottom, asterisk.
What?
Playability, fair. Realism, fair. Complexity, 7. 8 with supplements. Overall evaluation, as is. The Fountainhead as played is the best game going, however. So he goes into it, and I don't disagree with a lot of this. Presented in the most illiterate display of poor grammar, misspellings, and typographical errors, all of professional wargaming, the rules make Fall of Rome look cogent. Some errors like percentage liar for the equally cryptic percentage layer have spawned the most bizarre misinterpretations of intent. This and the generally poor systems have caused actual campaigns to diverge widely from what specified or suggested rules suggest. Generally, this is for the better, as it was given as it was given birth. It is fascinating, but mishappen. It is its best incarnations is perhaps the most exciting and attractive specimen alive. So basically, people pick this up, didn't know what they're doing, and like he said at the very beginning of this, like if you don't know somebody who's already running a game, you're not playing an RPG, because it is very difficult to discern how to start it. So he then jumps into D&D basic set. So the addition of a few spells, this is straight D&D, but only part of it. Essentially, it's condensation, reorganization of the material from the first 3 rulebooks. Only things appropriate to the first 3 character levels are included, blah, blah, blah. Comments, it's only a starter set and effectively obsolete a few weeks after you get a campaign going. It was written, or edited, if you prefer, by someone outside of TSR. Mold Day said, I guess. Was it Mold Day that did the first one? I can't remember now. I think it was Mold Day.
I never recall.
I think it was Mold Day with this outside source that outside.
It's either Moldvay or Holmes is one of them.
Yeah, it might have been Holmes. Yeah, is still long jump short of perfection, but you can read this and generally understand it, which is much better than the previous iteration. The playing aids are actually useful, if it were only examples. It's preferable to participate in an ongoing campaign still, but if you must venture into RPG country without a guide, this is the first place you should visit. Ratings get higher in this one, and then the next one obviously is AD&D, which he definitely does not shit on, and gives it a gives everything a very good rating on that one.
So
Basically.
what was the one he shit on? I thought that was
the OG? That's 1974.
Oh,
The original
okay.
three, the original three pamphlets, the one that Gary and,
The white
friends
box,
put
yeah,
together.
Or
Well, I mean the wood
brown
grain box,
yeah.
and yeah. But he also goes over. I mentioned Boot Hill already. It goes over Empire of the Petal Throne, which was, I guess, one of the first campaign settings. I feel like I've read something about it a long time ago, and there was some issues with it, but he goes over it, and apparently it was absolutely ridiculously priced for the time period it came out. $27.50 for the box set in 1975, which I think is like $100 right now, something like that. But yeah, Empire of the Petal Throne, which apparently was published by TSR. I did not realize that.
Still has fans today.
Yeah. On Guard, 1975. That was Game Designers Workshop. I think that, yeah. So that one, I've read briefly about it, but it has an attempt to create a realistic fencing system, and became a role-playing game with some background, predictably engendered more interest in the fighting, social situations, blah blah blah. Gamma World gets some pretty good marks. Melee, like I was talking about earlier, for whatever reason, is listed under the, rather than the, I guess, sort of bridging the gap between board games and war games, it's listed under the RPGs, which I don't know that I would consider an RPG, but you know, it has very good marks for it though. I've never actually seen a copy of it, but now I'm interested in trying to find a set. The best rated RPG at this period was actually RuneQuest.
Huh. Which is still around and kicking.
Yeah, it's still around. Yeah. Presentation's good. Rules excellent. Playability good. Realism very good. Complexity 8. Overall evaluation good to very good on all fronts. Designer Steve Perrin has put together what might be a model for RPG rulebooks going forward. It's coherent, understandable, and full of examples to illustrate almost every single point. Campaign background is a bit sketchy, perhaps, but that's a minor quibble. There are two basic difficulties in RuneQuest, and the first is cumbersome combat system, which is more realistic than most, but rather tedious. If you thrive on hacking limbs off and loving all the detail, this might not be an objection, however. The second is that it shares with Empire of Petal Throne the unfamiliarity of the world of Glorantha. The setting of White Bear and Red Moon, nomad gods in RuneQuest, discourages immigration. Nor does RuneQuest lend itself to being grafted into pieces into other settings. And I think that's kind of still the case. There's people that absolutely love the world of Glorantha, and there's people that are like, "What the fuck's that?"
Yep. Most people are going to be, "What the fuck is that?" But if you're familiar with RuneQuest, you at least have heard of it.
Yeah, I picked up a RuneQuest book a long time ago and looked at it, and I also kind of had the feeling that this was so set for that world that I didn't even feel like I could lift pieces of it. It was weird.
Huh. Yeah, I don't have a book of it. I've never really looked through it. But most settings I like picking up simply because I can pull parts from them and use them in my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, the Empire of the Petal Throne, if you were to try and find a boxed copy, it's about $500 these days.
I mean, I don't doubt it. Like any of these original 1970s box sets, if you're actually going to find them in decent condition, are going to be absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, they were rare, and most of them most of the boxes are just gone at this point.
Oh yeah. Our old buddy Luzacci also apparently published a couple under his game science company, Space Patrol and Superhero 2044. He got good markings for the combat system, less so for the rules presentations. But
rules presentations back then were rough, man.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where it's wargamers writing rules that they assume other people who are trying to play them already understand, but you're trying to attract people that aren't wargamers because RPG is a new thing.
Like I started in '90 with Redbox, which had been around for several years, and it was it's Redbox, it's D&D basic, it's pretty easy to understand and read through it. And then I went to second edition, and at the time, because I was a teenager, devoured the book, no problems with it. But as an adult, if I was to go back and try to make heads or tails of that shit, like it's terrible by comparison to what they do today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
no, like yeah, so there was a whole lot of assumptions when you were writing rule books back then that there was a certain amount of shared knowledge about the topics. And yeah, you could tell it's like somebody that, I mean, we've experienced this a little bit in writing our adventure, but for me, it's like, a developer writing code is, great at writing his code, but not necessarily great at documenting it. I don't know if Chris would know anything about that, but
You triggered me, man.
but it's the same thing. You get into somebody that knows their subject really well, and there's just sort of anybody that knows a subject well assumes that everybody else has more knowledge about that subject than they actually do.
Yeah. Me talking wrestling with other people.
Yeah, everyone knows. Yeah. So the other ones that he goes over, notably absent from this list is my personal favorite, Rollmaster. But it's also Middle Earth Role Playing isn't in here either, which I believe both were out by then.
Rollmaster. And what was the other one?
Middle Earth Role Playing.
Oh yeah.
Because ICE had the licensing for
Tolkien
Estate, but at that point,
I have the ICE box set here somewhere.
Yeah, I know second edition came out in the early mid '80s, but I want to say that the first edition came out in the '70s. But they might have called it something else. It might have just been like pamphlets with like charts and shit back then. Who knows?
Yeah.
But some of the other stuff that came out was Traveler, obviously 1977. Still, we just went over that. Mongoose is still publishing hordes of those books, apparently. Went for all of like $12 for a box set back then. Very good ratings on that one. What I was talking about, those little books like Ogre and Melee that Steve Jackson kind of like earned his keep on. Another one called The Fantasy Trip Wizard, and it's just like a little, I don't know, I want to say it's like zine sized pamphlet with a fold out hex map and like little tokens that you use to play, and it's called a metagaming's micro game. And it says apparently it takes 30 minutes to play, 30 minutes to an hour to play this game. So I still don't understand why it's in the RPG section, other than the fact that it's fantasy. But I feel like I need to pick up a copy of that, because he actually says that it's quite good, rates it excellent on all fronts. Last but not least,
Oops. Left the channel. Came back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Grimmaster. Yes.
Last but not least,
Tunnels and Trolls.
Oh yeah, fucking Tunnels and Trolls.
So Tunnels and Trolls. I've never played Tunnels and Trolls. I've never really had any experience whatsoever, but I do recognize that apparently Flying Buffalo Incorporated published it back in the day. It was just $5 for all of one booklet back in 1975. Came out right after, I guess, D&D did in '74. But Tunnels and Trolls is considered a less complex D&D. Characters are generated in the same way, but with wisdom. Wisdom has been replaced by luck, and there are no separate priest classes. The experience points and levels are similar to D&D, with equally silly names for the individual levels. Except that increases in level also progressively larger increases in one or more ability attributes. Sustainable damage, which is called hit points in D&D, but not in Tunnels and Trolls, is based on Constitution. Combat's more abstract. In brief, dice are rolled for the weapons involved. Bigger weapons equal more dice, with additional points given for individuals with exceptional strength, dexterity, or luck. The group with the lesser total of Tunnels and Trolls hit points takes the difference of the totals as damage as distributed among the individuals in the group. Armor absorbs some damage. Okay, that's a little more complex. Spells are dependent on IQ, not intelligence, and dexterity, and temporarily cost strength to cast because they fatigue the user. Feel that in Shadowrun.
I see that all the time in Dungeon Crawl Classics.
Yeah. Only 6-sided dice are required to play this game. Comments. Dungeons Rolls was specifically designed to be a cheaper and simpler version of D&D. It is both and faster, but definitely not better. Several new additions of the last few years have added a few suggestions and clarifications, but there's still nearly as many holes in the rules as there were in D&D when they started. There are no monster or treasure lists, no thiefly abilities. Everything, including the quick and easy combat system, seems designed to let you get right down to the game, but what's left after you get down to the game? Some good ideas for the treatment of the weapons and armor are never developed. Combat is unsatisfyingly gross for a personal man-to-man level game and cannot treat many details at all adequately without being bent out of shape. The spells have unbelievably tacky names such as Too Bad Toxin, Yasa Masa, Dum Dum, and Upsy Daisy, which lend the game an era of Alibaba and the Three Stooges.
That makes me want to play it more, is what that does.
Wow. Increasing the character's attributes wholesale results in human characteristics with an IQ of 450 or the strength of King Kong. That's not fantasy, it's absolute nonsense. There are better alternatives available. Don't play this game.
I mean, they just sold me on that game. That's what they
It sounds
did.
like it would be a blast for a one-shot.
Yeah, I'd play this
Nothing I
game
would
for a
ever wanna
one-shot.
run a campaign in.
Yeah, King Kong hanging out with like the Brainiac over here, but I don't know that I want to play this game either. But yeah, if you guys happen to find this at a thrift store or something like that, definitely recommend picking it up. Again, it's the Complete Book of War Games by John Freeman. You can probably pick a copy up on eBay or Abe Books or something like that too. But
there is nothing more 80s coded than these type of books. Like
I mean, like seriously, other than going into a help me out here, guys. A 80s or 90s tier bookstore like Walden Books or something. What do you like? And maybe seeing a Dragon magazine on the shelf. How are you going to find out about RPGs?
Yeah,
Especially if you're not in a big city.
I'm just imagining and just remembering all the like complete almanacs to Magic the Gathering cards and comic book price guides and fucking Back to the Story too.
This is, to me, this one is more a little piece of history. Like,
yeah, it absolutely feels like
these are the kinds of things I absolutely fucking love finding. With what I do for a living and all, I find old magazines or booklets from the early 1900s or late 1800s, and I hang on to some of those just so I can read through them and see what were people actually doing in the 1910s, 1920s. What was life really like? And
right.
And I'm the complete opposite. When I see someone does a picture of like, hey, I found this abandoned McDonald's and from the 1990s. Look how much a Big Mac costs. It only cost 15 cents. It makes me sad and depressed.
That there's a difference between the 1990s and what we're talking about, because we lived it. Now this is a thing of because the games that it's reviewing are games that were around when I was a baby or before I was born, and this guy's doing reviews of it. So I don't have that connection of a McDonald's from 1990s.
Yeah, and think about it. When this book was written in 1980,
so yeah.
When this book was written in 1980, the oldest RPG was 6 years old. Guys, COVID was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? That's how recent it was that this book was written in comparison to when these games came out. So like this is like current at the time. These were all popular in their own way, board and RPG. So I'm with you, Jay. I find it very interesting as a snapshot of history, and actually just I'm intrigued by some of these titles and like some of the ones that he actually reviews very well that I've never heard of.
I mean,
and
you named a bunch
for
of
under
them.
$30, hell, I might try to find a copy just to see what it's like.
Yeah, no, this is also the kind of stuff I love as a history nerd. I have several books there's a few of them that were called like Eyewitness and a few other ones. They're history books, but they're all made up of just snippets of bits of text, like firsthand textual references from different time periods. So you might have one that is I have one that is just a bunch of Greek stuff from people that could write. It is stuff like shopping lists or things they were sending a letter to a friend about. Just the remaining text of them, because it's just a little window into what was life like then for regular people.
I spent a couple hours yesterday going through some anti letters that I have that I'm thinking of eBaying and whatnot. But these are letters that were just written by random individuals from the 1940s or 1910s. And it's a letter to their sweetheart who's away during wartime or stuff like that. And it's just absolutely fascinating stuff. Mind you have to be able to read cursive to be able to read any of it.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah,
just
that's what this
speaking-
kind of thing is a little piece of, it's a piece of history, because back then you didn't have the internet where you could get some guy on YouTube telling you and reading snippets of you. So you had to find magazines and stuff to tell
that's
you
part of
about.
the reason why I absolutely love collecting the old Dragon magazines. Part of the reason I
Yeah.
loved looking at these things is like looking at the advertisements for like the
Mhm.
miniatures of the time period, or the different conventions that were happening in different places, and just see what the articles are that people are writing. Because especially the early days of those magazines, it wasn't all about TSR and D&D. It was all kinds of stuff. It was still, they were publishing stuff about war games still. So it's an interesting snippet of history, and it was actually really interesting. Of course, a couple weeks ago when we interviewed Ed Greenwood, who wrote for Dragon back in the day, and his memory of some of the stuff we were pulling out, like, hey, in 1984 when you were writing about Elminster's ecologies, and he's like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. Jesus, how do you have that kind of fucking memory? Like I know I pulled the PDF out right here and I'm looking at it, but you got you on the spot.
Because he writes it all, and you had to have that memory then.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think about it,
pretty
Dan, like when
I'm
we
pretty
were
sure he has a
young,
good memory.
Yeah.
well, when we were young, and if you wanted to go find new bands or see shows,
Yeah.
man, it was all those little indie, metal and punk rags that would tell you the bands that you should go see and where they might be playing. Like you had to find people that had those little zines.
I am sure that every Zennial or whatever the hell they call them these days that even remotely listens to this podcast is checked out by now. But if you
they're doing a
have,
deep dive in war games, get back when we're talking about Daggerheart.
yeah, if you haven't checked out though, read some history books. Go look for old history books, man.
All right. My last history snippet, because we were again talking about you want to know about the daily life of things in back in the day. I also picked up this weekend. It's called A Medieval Life, and on the back of it, which is what sold me. Crusaders marching off to reclaim the Holy Land, kings besieging castles with archers and men-at-arms, bishops celebrating masses in new cathedrals, merchants haggling for bargains at fairs and markets. All these men and their actions were important parts of medieval life, but all were also atypical. Most medieval people were not knights, kings, churchmen, or merchants. Most, more than 9 out of 10 actually, were peasants who eked out hard livings from the land. This book tells that story of one such peasant, Cecilia Pinnifitter, who lived on the English manor of Brigstock just before the Black Death. Her story is exceptional for its documentation, but ordinary in other respects. Her richly detailed life offers readers an excellent, down-to-earth introduction to the general history of medieval peasants and their world, just before the Black Death. So it's basically the biography of this woman who lived in 1295 to 1344, and her basically, I guess she learned to write, unlike most other peasants during that period, and essentially wrote a whole bunch of text, and a historian translated it and updated it, and essentially referenced all the things she's talking about, as it is a true story about what her life was back in that period. So pick that up, give me some light reading for me, read about some peasants.
Yeah.
It's an interesting read. I actually own that, so yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
I do.
Fucking nerd.
You
What
would.
the hell?
I am a history nerd. Yeah.
If
You
don't
literally
wanna-
just went to some place called Nerdfest this weekend. Shut up.
if you don't want to read and you want to know how peasants lived, there's a YouTube channel, Modern History TV, where they put out great videos like what did peasants eat in medieval times, and did medieval peasants think they were slaves? So, but
There you
no,
go.
I mean it's really fascinating stuff. He goes into great detail on everyday life of just medieval times.
That's awesome.
I've been to medieval
I had not heard
times.
of
I
that
didn't
one
see any
actually. I
peasants.
will.
Yeah, you order the Pepsi.
You were the
I'm sure.
peasant. Shut up.
I sat in the White Knight section and won.
Yeah, you did. Keep thinking that, buddy. Get back out to the field, you serf. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, let's move on. Sorry for derailing everything with history, but I thought it was just a really intriguing thing that I got in the mail today. So
I love it. I want a copy of that book now.
yeah,
Oh yeah, so do I. I totally want a copy.
you don't read.
I don't read.
Giants don't read.
Giants can't read.
don't read. The text is too small.
I did want to. In our Discord channel, I did in our podcast chat channel on our Discord, I posted a link to a Steam community shared file where someone recreated all
my
of
God.
the campaign for North Africa in Tabletop Simulator.
Of course, somebody did.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So go pick
Well,
that up.
I'm
Recommended
subscribing.
10 players, 5 per team.
Oh my God.
Playtime
I mean,
1,500 hours.
We know some people. We can make this happen.
Guys, we just have to
Guys, you
finish
got
this by the time we're in
1,500
our
hours to
80s, so it'll be fine.
I know we're doing next in our Twitch stream.
That'll
That's
be
what
the
our,
most exciting thing ever.
our Twitch stream becomes. That for the next 15 years is what happens.
And it's mostly
God.
just us figuring out how to play the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then remembering
Well,
the
I mean,
rules
Tabletop
between each
Simulator
group.
basically has that covered, right? Right?
Yeah,
No, there's PDFs and shit you have to download to go with this because
Oh,
it's so
yeah,
complicated.
it hasn't done all the math and stuff for you. It's just there to be the board and the pieces.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's no automation.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you
Just-
have a fillable log sheet.
Oh my God.
But we're well past our hour, so there's one last topic I want to bring up. Something quick, and I think Craig will leave the room in a moment. But I posted a link to the Facebook post that the official Dungeons and Dragons Facebook page tweeted out. It's also on their Twitter and their Instagram. It starts off with a picture of Modron Monodrone, and it says, "Hear me out." And then when you scroll through the pictures, it's saying that it would kiss all of the monodrones. The duodrone, the quadrodrone, the triodrone, the pentadrone. So I have to ask my fellow grumpy dungeon masters, would you kiss a monodrone? Duodrone? Huh? Which ones are hit? Which ones are smash? And which one are pass?
I don't want mono.
I don't like drones either.
Aw. But they got such luscious lips. Don't you want to make out with them?
Are
Is it?
unfeeling beings that are utterly devoted to their specific tasks. They are the personification of the concept of law, and they only.
But what if their task is to kiss?
Well,
Yeah, what if their task is to make out with you with full tongue?
A
Then-
kiss of the lips might be nice.
then they will go about their task without such a thing as consent, for there is only the law.
Oh, Jesus. Wow. Whoa. Whoa, charging.
Monodrone.
Look, law taken to the extreme is
Yeah.
not great.
Yeah.
What?
Kissy drone? We should
We've
we should
all-
introduce Kissy drone to Kissy Beholder.
There you go.
You remember
I
Beholder?
want the consensual drone first.
Thalid-
No, but
we
what
saw
the
the
hell are you
picture.
doing
We
posting
saw
this?
the picture. Thaladred's already devoted to a beholder.
I am. She's my
Yeah.
bae.
True. Have you got that framed yet?
No.
Of course not.
My room's not clean. What are you talking about? I got a box sitting in my living room full of WizKids Critical Role minis. I have no idea what to do with those. Let alone.
Is that your bed because you've been kicked out? By
Well,
your
they better
wife?
be out of the
Yeah.
way by Saturday.
Yeah. I don't
I need
want them
room
to
to
do
stretch
half
my
the shit.
legs.
Yeah.
All right. Is it time for the Matt Mercer top 10?
No, we're gonna rate it or hate it. The monodrones. Let's go.
Oh, is that what we're doing? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. We'll get right on that.